What's going on, guys? We are back for something a little bit interesting. We're going to have a little playlist going on in the background here. I was going to do some stuff about stats, but I feel like it's maybe a little bit too early based on just 1 week. So instead, what we're going to do, I'm going to call this a power chart. And basically, what this is I'm going to rank the teams in North America and Europe 1 through 10 and 1 through 10 based on what I saw eye test-wise in week 1. Basically, like if that team would have played a team above them on my power chart, they probably would have lost if they played exactly how they did versus that opponent. Now, obviously, this is all opinion-based, and you would think teams are going to play a little bit differently versus, maybe tougher competition, yada, yada. But I thought this was a little interesting of, like, based on the eye test, who do you think did the best and who did the worst? We're going to throw up some trailers here for the World Championship in Dallas, which is going to be really, really cool. Make sure you come check it out. I hear a lot of people are going to make the trip. I think it's great that it's in the central U.S. Makes it a new avenue, a new way for local fans to get involved. So it's going to be really fun. And CRL's been killing it. DreamHack Dallas was a lot of fun. So I expect the crowd to be insane. That being said, let's continue. What we're doing is we're going to show this. We're going to show the top place in North America, top place in Europe, and then at the end it's just going to be some more European goals. I don't know exactly how these playlists work, because I'm just throwing it from YouTube. So we'll see in a second. But let's get into North America here while we get into this playlist. I'm just going to pop them all up at the same time. In my opinion, I thought the best looking team was probably Space Station. And also I didn't put spaces on every single one of these after numbers. My apologies. Hopefully this just plays right away. All right, cool. It is. So I thought Space Station looked really, really strong. I think, like Ghost was a good matchup, a quality team. As we can see, I actually have Ghost ranked 5th, ahead of Pittsburgh Knights, who did get a win. So we'll kind of bounce around this list a little bit, and I'll explain some of my opinions on this. Pittsburgh Knights, it took to game 5 with 43 seconds left, as you see with this goal right here, to really start doing stuff. Like, that they didn't look very good. They looked relatively flat. I think it's going to be interesting to see if their formation continues with Gyro playing a pretty deep third man. It seems unusual for them to play that way. Or maybe they're just not used to it. And I think with time they should gel a little bit more. But they looked relatively flat this week, and I think if they would have played Ghost, they probably would have lost. Ghost, I thought, did fairly well versus Space Station. I think there's a few extra opportunities that they probably could have got. Maybe one of the surprises is Energy at 4. They didn't look great for Sonics. Like, sure, they kind of, like, didn't allow the other team to get any offense going. Sonics, like, they didn't get a lot of shots necessarily, but also Energy wasn't really doing anything on the offensive side. We talk about Justin all the time. He really didn't do a whole lot in this matchup. It's one of the first league play matches in a while where we didn't really see him do anything. So they looked a little bit flat going into week 1. I thought United's performance was pretty solid versus Cloud9, but I have Cloud9 ranked all the way down to 9th because I thought it was a really poor performance from them. Same with Rogue. I think Rogue kind of got locked down there a bit by G2, and maybe that was more in G2, which is why I gave him number 2. But G2 looked pretty strong. Rogue did fight back, at least in this game, and maybe I could have bumped them up for that. But at the end of the day, they both got swept, so they're down at the bottom. Sonics, I put 8. Flight, I put 7. Sonics, I think it was like we didn't get to see a ton from them. They kind of, were shut down by Energy's defense, and they still clawed out some wins. They had one 4-goal game, which was nice. Yeah, and Flight, they probably should have beat Pittsburgh Knights. They kind of threw it away there at the end, so that was a little bit unfortunate for them. So that's how I ranked my NA Week 1. We're going to call this a power chart. I don't know if that makes sense. If you guys think of better names for future weeks, maybe we'll do that. Let's move over to Europe while we got these top plays up. At the top, Reciprocity. Farah leading the charge with some stylish Doomsy dishes right there. Reciprocity looked in control for most of the part, for the most part in this series versus Singularity. There was no sweeps, but they controlled the field. They just waited for mistakes. And that's why I also have them ranked number 10 for Singularity. This isn't always going to be the case where it's like 1 in 10, but we didn't really get to see a lot from them, and a lot of mistakes off the back wall. They weren't as egregious as the Monaco mistakes, but they were pinned in way more than Monaco. Monaco, I ranked 8th above Endpoint. Endpoint, their number 1 ability is their offense, and we really didn't see a ton of it versus Vitality. They averaged, I think, like 1.25 goals per game. So, yeah, Monaco, their defense obviously fell apart in a few spots, but at times they looked like they were better than Mouse throughout that series. So There's the extra number 2 in the top plays. I put him number 2 and put Mets number 1. Personally, I like the extra play more, but I put it up for a Twitter poll, and we gave it to Metsonoris at number 1. Veloce, in there. Dignitas might be the surprise at number 5. I thought they didn't look great. They were pretty flat against TSM. That's also where I have TSM at number 7. Because besides these really nice fancy goals, like they didn't get a lot of offense going either. They only had like 5 shots per game. I think it was like 5.4 shots, and that includes 2 overtimes. They weren't very long, but yeah. So I'm still a little concerned about TSM, and here we'll go back into some of these goals that we saw throughout the European league play. It's basically the video that we didn't get to finish earlier when we did predictions, but we're going to try and finish this in, roughly probably a little over 10 minutes time of this video. But TSM, I still have question marks. I think a lot of people thought they played really well. I think their defense was playing pretty solid, and usually I'm more offensive biased, I'm not going to lie. So that's why I have them number 7. Veloce could have won that series versus Barca at number 6. It wasn't anything that special, I thought, the Barca-Veloce series, but it wasn't terrible either. It was like the perfect middle-of-the-pack game. Barca got the win. They got that Champions Field curse out of the way, which I was pretty happy about, and their offense was doing pretty well. So that's why I gave Barca the nod at number 4. Now, this doesn't mean, like this power chart does not mean like these are the power rankings, how I would rank them going forward. It just means like if Barca played Dig last week, I think Barca probably would have won that match based on eye test and everything like that. But look at these nutty goals from TSM when they don't even matter. TSM. It's hard to rate TSM right now. It's going to be a really fun match, Veloce TSM. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean that this reflects on my predictions necessarily, because, teams change every single week, or I think a team is generally going to be better or more consistent going forward. But, yeah, moving on to the top 3, Mouse at number 3. Like, I think they're number 3 just because at times Monaco was playing better than them. They eventually turned it around and made up for some of their mistakes early on. I thought speed on the goal line defense was not good, and that's going to be a major talking point, I think, throughout the season if that continues, because I think that kind of bit them in the ass last time around. Speed and a lot's defensive capabilities at times kind of choked towards the end of the season, and I'm a little bit concerned about that. Scrub even had some plays where he probably should have made some saves, like this one right here. It was kind of an awkward play because he got pull shotted in, but still, that's a save normally Scrub makes. So Mouse, while tiny bit shaky, they still win 3-1, right? They still get the job done, and it wasn't as close as it could have been. And again, I think some of that is because of just Monaco just kind of gifting some of these goals, which I think we're going to see here in a little bit. We'll see if some of these pop up, because I think they're coming up real soon. I guess it was game 3. Game 3 is when that happened. But anyway, we'll continue the talk, and then we'll come back to that at the end here. Extra with the beautiful goal there. Vitality, number 2. I think Vitality looked pretty strong. I was just pleasantly surprised that, like, even though Alpha didn't get involved too much, he wasn't trying to force it, right? He knows who he has on his team. He's got K-Dop and Fairy Peak. Let them do their thing. If they need you, you will be called upon, and I expect Alpha to show up, but he wasn't needed in this series, and I think that's perfectly fine for Vitality. It's not probably how you want to play like every single series, but I think if it was tougher competition, I think Alpha probably would have gotten more involved. So I'm not concerned about Vitality. I thought it was a pretty dominating performance there. And then a Reciprocity we talked about already, where it was pretty controlled, all in all. So that's why I gave them the number 1 odd for week number 1 in my power chart. This week, obviously, Rec and Mouse play each other, so that one should be pretty good, pretty juicy. We already did predictions and all that stuff on that. This was one of the plays I thought was like the turning point in the series. Scrub right there with that beautiful 50-50. Into a pass to Cooks, which seems like Scrub was feeding Cooks a lot throughout the series. So that was well done, and Cooks just doesn't miss those, man. And it's overtime, so Cooks is definitely not going to miss those. But that is your week 1 power chart. So I hope you guys enjoyed them. We might not do this every week. I just didn't really have much else to do video-wise this time around, and I thought it was kind of an interesting talk about it. It's kind of the same stuff that we talked about in my predictions and recap, just in a little bit of a shortened version, and just to give you what I thought their power levels were, I guess, which I didn't mean for this to be a power level joke, but it's turned into that. So now I can't do power charts anymore. Here's some of those weird defensive plays. One there by extra. It's kind of awkward. I just want to see this next one because it was ugly. Oogly boogly. So we're going to see a goal here from Ignite, which is a beautiful shot. Beautiful. Bar down. That's what you want. But we're going to see it where this is where Monaco kind of throws away the series, where they could have won it. They were doing so well. They were up at halftime. Game 3. 1-1 series, and then this happens. 2 of them double coming up the wall. Ignite whiffs. Tigre whiffs. I can't really blame Tigre as much. But Ignite, well, I guess he misses because Extra missed already. Then Tigre misses. All 3 miss on this play. It was just, not good at all. And then this goal right here. Tigre, what are you doing, bud? Just gifted it, man. That is such a gift. They gifted Game 3 away. So unfortunate. Anyway, I don't want to make this video any longer than it has to be. But yeah, there you go. Let me know what you thought about how teams looked in week number 1. Again, that this isn't necessarily power rankings. I'll still put energy number 1 until otherwise noted. Maybe if there's a couple weeks where they look lackluster, I might be dropping them down. But they just didn't look that great in week number 1. But yeah. That'll do it. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the desk Saturday and Sunday. Later.